Hello, this is a demo of a change in Cockpit, how Cockpit machines measures the memory usage of a virtual machine. What Cockpit used to display was the size of the QEMU process on the host, which is an interesting number and kind of representative how expensive the virtual machine is for the host. But I think because it's next to the CPU usage that is from inside the virtual machine, and also just intuition, I think people expect this to be a number of the memory usage inside the guest. So it should be related to what you see when you go into the guest and run commands like free or look at what top is outputting. And so people got confused when this number was unreasonably high and sometimes even higher than the 100%. So now this change makes it so that this memory usage number actually comes from the kernel that runs inside the guest, and it is the total amount of memory minus the mem available number that the kernel reports. So this is some kind of guess hint at how much memory can be used in short notice. So it does not include buffers and all of these things. So, but yeah, these statistics are complicated. And so this is just supposed to be some kind of indication and a feel-good number to see how your virtual machine is doing. And with this change, these numbers typically are much lower than they used to be. So anyway, yeah, let's go to this machine. There's top is running here already, I think. And you see 1.4 gigabytes of memory are used, and top reports it the other way around, that 2.6 gigabytes are available, and if you add these two up, you get the 4 gigabytes of total memory, about. So that's the idea. So this gray part is the available memory, the top reports, or free, or the proc mem info. Okay. Yeah, I hope people don't think they need to know all these details, and I think just checking the memory health of a guest is much more complicated. You might want to look at the swap, if there's any swap used, and then actually you want to see how much paging is going on and which processes are causing all that, and has the out-of-memory killer been triggered, etc., etc. So that's much more involved. So this is just a number, and that should give you some idea. And this means now this virtual machine is doing fine, which is true because it's mostly empty or idle, doesn't do anything, so that makes sense. Yeah, let's look at some other cases. Here is another virtual machine. This one now has a maximum memory of 2 gigabytes, but it has been limited to only use 1 gigabyte. And the way this works is, if you start the machine and stop it in the bootloader, then it will get the maximum amount of memory, 2 gigabytes. This is also, it changes here, might be a bit confusing. So now it has 2 gigabytes, and there's my mouse. If you continue the boot, at some point the Linux kernel will take over and the balloon driver is loaded, and then the memory gets reduced to the limited number that you have specified. So now it has 1 gigabyte. So there's a transition. When the kernel boots, it will reduce the total memory available to its processes. And you can actually see that happen here in the memory usage. But you can also see that Cockpit cannot report numbers from inside the virtual machine here. It just says unavailable. And that is because this virtual machine has not been configured to provide these numbers. There is unfortunately an extra step involved, and I'll show it now how this has to be done. And Cockpit right now does not do this extra step. Where are we? And I think it goes like this. It's the DOM mem stat for this machine, and you have to set the polling period to something. So, and then you have to reload Cockpit, I think. And then it gets the number here. So this one is also pretty okay with its memory usage. Let's see what happens if we log in. Maybe it goes up a bit, but this number updates quite slowly. Oh, it even goes down. So nobody knows what the kernel is doing with all the memory. Okay, just for fun, let's shut it down again. And watch again what happens when we boot it. Oh, it still says unavailable. Yeah. It should be saying waiting, actually. Ah, I know. Complications. Nope, nope. Here's the terminal. Of course, we have to also modify the permanent configuration of the machine, not just the live one. Yeah, okay, this is not running now. So now I should get the expected behavior. If we start this now, then it says it's waiting for the number because Cockpit knows there should be one because polling is happening. But it's not there yet because the kernel has not been booted. And soon we get there. All the polling is, of course, not synchronized. Cockpit polls every 10 seconds. And the kernel polls every 10 seconds. So this can take a while until you get current up-to-date numbers here. Okay. Yeah, and just for kicks, here's a Windows machine, and we can also boot that. And it has polling enabled. And now it's waiting for the numbers here. And that should actually work as well. So it's not just a Linux thing. There's the number. Okay, that's it. This is obviously only the first part. The second part would be how to enable the polling. We can do that by default when creating new virtual machines, and we should also have some UI here to do it for machines that have been created without the polling enabled. Okay, thanks a lot. That's it.